And as with any deployment, as with any project, it really is important to have clear roles. Who's handling support, who's actually doing the implementation, how are we making sure that the information we're sharing is up to date, and that there's really a clear process defined with clear roles. And one of the key things here is this idea of user rewards. Now I want to dig in on these rewards, on this reward system a little bit. And one of the buzzwords we use these days is gamification. Now gamification is this game mechanics in a non-game context to engage users and solve problems. So essentially what we're talking about in this user reward system is how do we create loyalty? How do we create engagement? How do we encourage users to keep doing the right kinds of things? Well, as a frequent flyer, I often spend time on planes. Now, if it was up to me, I wouldn't fly on every single airline, whoever's the cheapest, because I've created loyalty. And the loyalty means when I go step on a plane, I might end up in first class. And as long as that happens more often on one airline than another airline, and then that first class really is a special experience, I want to really use that loyalty. I want, as an example, I'm a Delta Platinum. And what that means to me is I can get on the plane first, and every so often I get upgraded for free, and I gather these points, and every so often that means that I can fly my family with me to New York, or they can come with me on vacation, or whatever. But it creates a serious loyalty. I mean serious. It's amazing how in the travel industry how important these things are, and how really it's a multi-billion-dollar industry itself almost, with this idea of the points as being money. You've also seen these kinds of systems even in our consumer apps. As an example, in LinkedIn, they get value out of you filling out your profile. If you just put in your name, not a lot of value. In fact, I've noticed even the way I use the application, if people request friends with me, they better have a picture. I want to connect with people. I don't want to connect with a robot. And I want to make sure that they have a rich profile. I want to make sure that this is somebody I want to connect with, because potentially a future employer could ping that person and say, hey, what do you know about Joel? What kind of work experiences have you had with him, and so on. So as I build relationships in my network, I want to have a rich experience. Well, in the interface, what they've done is they both capture that idea of profile completeness, and if your thing sits at 95%, it's like, oh, you want to finish it. That's the kind of game mechanics I'm talking about. And some of these kinds of systems really can help you recognize those people who are doing well in your system. You may have seen badges, and it kind of goes off of the idea of the merit badges even in the scouting program, but this idea of let's reward people for accomplishing things. Going back to the example of flying, which I love to do, I'm at a level 10 jet setter. There's some pride in that. I've been to 45 different airports. That's a really difficult thing to check in at each of these airports, but they've rewarded me with this badge. So they've essentially created this loyalty with me, and they've gamified me to where I wanted to accomplish this badge, and basically going up through all the various levels. Now, how does that apply corporate-wise? Is there ways we can reward our support folks of being able to say, hey, so many calls closed within a certain amount of time, let's recognize those support folks who have achieved these things? Yeah, these types of systems, they work. We want to reward people when they do good behavior. Well, we can do the same thing in our systems, in Yammer, in SharePoint. Let's recognize the people who are on the leaderboard. And some of these mechanics are software-based. Some of these mechanics are the program and plan around it. In SharePoint itself, in 2013 in communities, you're seeing an example of the share the point. And on that system, you've got this idea that you're going to get so many points for a post, so many points for replying. If it was liked, you even get more points. And if it gets marked as the best reply, you even get 100 points. So different points for different types of activities. But ultimately, we want to reward those people who are really the experts. And we want people to kind of to grow and to use the system. And it encourages both loyalty, adoption, and it really kind of creates this expertise system within. You could even say in the SharePoint community, the broader SharePoint community, there's this concept of an MVP program. And man, it's amazing to have watched that over the years as different people have joined the program. You know, Microsoft wants to recognize people who are contributing to the community, and it creates serious loyalty. I mean, these people will fill out, they'll spend hours and hours per week going into these news groups, responding to requests. These types of loyalty programs, you know, people will fly to Seattle to go to the MVP Summit by themselves, just to be able to hear Microsoft talk about their products. It's really quite amazing what they've been able to build around that program. And you can do these same kinds of things and create this kind of loyalty that basically reward people for becoming experts. Just got another screenshot looking at that idea of the top contributors or the leaderboard, recognizing in SharePoint as an example of just the community template. Now, unfortunately, the team template, the document management template, a lot of these other templates don't have these game mechanics built into them, but this community does. And I actually want to show you that as well. In Yammer, there is also this concept of leaderboard. You know, what are the most popular conversations? Who are those people who have the most replied to conversations? And kind of recognizing those people who really are making a difference inside of your enterprise social network or inside of your intranet, you know, inside of those communities. And I want to point this back now at NanoLearn, and or InfoLearn. Bill, let's hear more about what you guys are doing.
Sure. Thanks, Joel. So I'm here with Ken Payzold. He's our product manager. He'll be, at the end of my presentation, he'll be providing a 10-minute demo. That's really what we want to get to. So I'm going to give you a high level of our company. So the company is called Intralearn. Our informal learning solution is called NanoLearn. NanoLearn essentially is an application that layers on SharePoint. We help our clients educate their employees by consuming small nuggets of information from different sources. Now, different sources, it starts in SharePoint, so anything within SharePoint, a PDF, an Excel document, a PowerPoint, anything like that. Then it can go external to any web content, a YouTube video, for example. This information can be consolidated or aggregated and then measured, providing metrics around the impact of learning within an organization. So this can be, so anyway, to get into, in the industry, what the trend is I would say more than half, and this is from a various studies. So, you know, the Aberdeen Research Briefs and UNC Business School, for example, more than 51% of the learning within an organization is unstructured. So we call that kind of water cooler learning, or hey, I need to figure out a way to use Excel, or how to, you know, provide. I may want some a sales PowerPoint that we used in a sales training, for example. And usually what happens is someone says, hey, go to this file or folder and use this document. Well, it never gets tracked or traced or aggregated in one area where more people can use it or share it. So, you know, the enterprise no longer rely solely on courses, and they're trending, you could say they're trending away from courses, which is around instructors, handbooks, large classroom environments. Not to say that's going away, but there's other alternatives, and there's a lot of information that's not being used for training, including things like video, tying it to gamification and social networking tools. So that's, that's really what we're tying to. So companies are trending to enterprise social collaboration, where employees work together to accomplish business-related tasks via user-generated social content creation and sharing. For example, the millennials, is a trend in millennials growing in the workforce, which is, some of you may know it as Generation Y, for example. By 2020, 46% of the workforce will be millennials. They really want to learn and grow with an organization. They don't necessarily want to be told what to do. They want to, they're a bit unstructured, so they want to work within an organization, get their input, provide feedback, and be part of the solution. Obviously, they're tech-savvy multitaskers with all the, all the latest and greatest technology, from Droids to Apple to tablets, and they're really leveraging social media within their companies, as a megaphone to get information out there. So more and more companies are relying on that medium. A couple high-level statistics. Again, U.S. firms spent about $156 billion on employee learning in 2011. And what typically happens is some 90% of the skills are lost within a year. And many organizations are not evaluating this or not tracking this. So what companies need to teach their employees is how and where to access that information, or those facts. But the problem is, if you're inundated with facts and concepts, typically a person will forget about 90% of it. That's where the nugget learning or informal learning comes into place, where, for example, if I, a simple example, if I'm somewhat handy, I need to fix a leaky faucet, I go to YouTube and say, how do I fix a faucet? I'll get that information. Well, that could be useful to other people. Within a corporation, again, it could be something in Excel that I want to figure out. So then I could use that. So I typically go to YouTube, type in how to in Excel, and then figure out on the fly. So I don't necessarily have to take an Excel 5-day course or 3-day course or a course online. That information's already there. So why don't we share that information, like it, and pass it on to other employees. So how we're satisfying the market requirements is, our solution provides corporate-sized structure around emerging style of informal learning, including things like permissions, roles, groups, collection of items, dashboards, all designed for collaboration. It's as I said, it's a SharePoint add-on, extending its knowledge base with outside resources. YouTube, for example, or any web content, for that matter. Our solution provides the ability to create a reward system such as badging. These things could be around, a lot of companies have core value rewards, for example. There could be a test and training on core values within a company, and that's a great way that I see to use badging and collaboration. So some sort of reward system measured, as Joel indicated. So it includes things: social learning, crowdsourcing, gamification, content reuse. So this comes into play where there's a lot of what I would call institutional knowledge that walks out the door right now. So someone leaves a job, they have all their information in SharePoint or in a file system. They've been at the company for 10 years. Nobody has access to that information, or very little people have access to that information. That would be great. That would be great data to be shared within an organization. And then, puts a familiar tool in the hands of next generation employees. Microsoft-based, GUI interface can be managed really easy, customized for your company. And then instant access to point or moment of need information. Again, like I said, a lot of people are learning, especially millennials, on the fly. They don't necessarily want to go into a 5-day course. They prefer to figure it out online, ask somebody, point me in this direction. So let's capture that information, share that information, and measure it. So essentially that quickly wraps up my portion of this. Again, we'll take questions at the end. I wanted to go fast because I think it's important that you see a demo from Ken, and then we'll go from there. Thank you.